She posted a TikTok captioned, "Dating Down Builds Character," with me in the background. The video materialized on my For You page with the gut-punch precision of a targeted ad, which, in the most cruel irony, it was. The algorithm, in its polled, unfeeling logic, had determined that as the boyfriend of @GlimmerGirl, I was among her most engaged followers, and thus should be served her latest piece of content first. For a split second, I didn't process it. It was just another clip in the endless scroll. Then the familiar surroundings of her kitchen came into focus. The Moroccan tile backsplash I'd painstakingly installed for her last summer. The copper pots hanging above the island. And there, in the background, slightly blurred by the portrait mode effect, but unmistakably, undeniably me, was my own hunched-over form. I was crammed under her sink, my torso twisted at an awkward angle, the muscles in my shoulders straining against the fabric of my oldest, most faded gray t-shirt, the one with the small tear near the collar and a dark smear of grease across the chest. My forehead was beaded with sweat, my knuckles scraped and dirty from wrestling with a stubborn, corroded pipe joint that had been leaking for a week. The camera, however, wasn't focused on the labor. It was locked on her. She was perched on a stool at the island, looking effortlessly chic in a cream-colored cashmere lounge set, her makeup flawless, sipping a vibrantly green juice from a tall glass. A soft, vaguely inspirational piano tune played. Then the text overlay began to appear, word by word, in a delicate feminine font. My therapist said to embrace humility. The words materialized slowly, giving each one time to land. So I'm dating a handyman. A clip then showed her offering me a glass of water with a condescendingly sweet smile, which I now realized she'd filmed without my knowledge. It builds character to be with someone who struggles. The final text card filled the screen. #datingdown, #growth, #know your worth. The video ended with her giving a small, knowing wink to the camera. I sat there on my couch, the phone feeling like a block of ice in my hand. The physical ache in my back from the awkward hours spent under that sink was nothing compared to the cold, sharp pain that lanced through my chest. This wasn't a private joke. This was a public performance, a declaration. I was the prop in her narrative of enlightened self-improvement, the struggling blue-collar obstacle course she was bravely navigating to become a better person. My love, my dedication, the countless hours I'd spent fixing her car, building her furniture, painting her apartment, all of it was reduced to a punchline for her 1.2 million followers. I numbly scrolled down to the comments, a masochistic impulse I couldn't resist. They were even worse than the video itself. A festival of praise and vicious affirmation unfolded before my eyes. Queen, setting the standard. He should be paying you for the privilege of your presence, one top comment read. Another said, upgrade coming soon, sis. Once the character is built, you trade in the project for the finished product. Someone else wrote, lol, my handyman has that exact same shirt. Must be a uniform. And the comment was filled with laughing, crying emoji replies. Each one was a tiny digital dagger. My face, already warm from exertion, now burned with a humiliating, all-consuming heat. This was the lens through she saw me, not as a partner, but as a charity case, a life lesson, a humble, struggling stepping stone on her path to a higher self. I didn't type an angry comment. I didn't fire off a furious text. I didn't even move. A strange glacial calm settled over me, freezing the initial shock and rage into something far more potent and dangerous. A cold, clear, and absolute resolve. The emotional noise in my head simply stopped. I silently closed the TikTok app, I placed the phone face down on the coffee table. I stood up, walked to my small bathroom, and looked at myself in the mirror, the tired eyes, the sweat-streaked dirt on my temple, the humble t-shirt that was now a symbol of my perceived inadequacy. I methodically washed the grease from my hands, the soap stinging my scraped knuckles. I drove back to her apartment. She'd given me a key, a token of trust that now felt like a sick joke. I let myself in. She was out, probably at some influencer brunch, planning her next viral hit. The kitchen was just as it was in the video. The toolbox was still open on the floor, the broken pipe was still disassembled, waiting for my capable, struggling hands to fix it. I looked at it for a long moment. Then I simply turned around. I didn't clean up. I didn't leave a note. I walked out, closing the door softly behind me, leaving her leaky problem exactly where it was. The next morning, the humiliation had fully metabolized into fuel. I scrolled through my own phone, past pictures of us, and found the number I needed. I called James, the project manager for the Apex Towers loft conversion, the most prestigious and talked about new development downtown.
"James, it's Alex," I said, my voice flat and businesslike, devoid of all its usual warmth. There was a pause on the other end. "Alex? Everything all right? You never call this early." "Change of plans," I said. "Move the site-wide investor and press meeting from 1 p.m. to 10 a.m. today, and send a car for me. I'll be attending in person." Another pause, longer this time. "In person? But you said you preferred to remain a silent partner, to let me handle the public-facing." "That," I interrupted, my tone leaving no room for argument, "was before. Things have changed. Make it happen." That afternoon, fate, or perhaps a carefully calculated suggestion from a mutual acquaintance, placed her and her two closest, most catty friends at a sidewalk table of a chic coffee shop directly across the street from the soaring glass entrance of the Apex Towers. They were on their obligatory post-brunch coffee run, no doubt dissecting the viral success of her dating down video. I saw them before they saw me. I watched from the sleek, air-conditioned interior of the black town car as it pulled up to the curb. I took a breath, straightened the cuffs of the custom-tailored charcoal gray suit that had been hanging in my closet for precisely such occasions, and stepped out into the sunlight. The transformation was instant and absolute. Gone was the man in the greasy t-shirt. In his place stood Alex Vance, lead architectural engineer and silent financial backbone of the city's most ambitious project. I saw the exact moment her eyes, scanning the street, landed on me. The iced latte froze halfway to her lips. Her eyes widened, then squinted in disbelief, then widened again. She nudged her friend Qley, who looked over, did a comical double-take, and elbowed the third friend, Maya. They became a frozen tableau of shock, their phones forgotten on the table. They watched, utterly mesmerized, as I was greeted by a swarm of people in hard hats and suits. The project manager, James, rushed forward, shaking my hand vigorously and clapping me on the back. Then the mayor himself, who was there for a photo op, stepped over, shook my hand, and engaged me in an animated conversation, pointing up at the soaring glass structure. I wasn't a background character here. I was the center of the narrative. The spectacle was too juicy to ignore. Her own followers, the very army that had cheered her dating down video, began to recognize me. Their DMs and comments flooded in. Isn't that your boyfriend?" one screamed. Another sent a screenshot from our city's business journal website. "Visionary developer Alex Vance breaks ground on Apex Towers, credits innovative engineering for project success." Her TikTok comment section, once a shrine to her perceived superiority, instantly turned into a digital courtroom. "Dating down? Ma'am, that man owns the building. Struggles? He looks like he struggles to choose which yacht to buy. The secondhand embarrassment is real. You played yourself." Her viral video was now a viral disaster, a monument to her own arrogance and ignorance. The coup de grace arrived not from a troll, but from corporate email. A DM from the CEO of Glimmer, her biggest and most lucrative brand sponsorship, The one that provided the free clothes, the trips, the cash that funded her influencer lifestyle landed in her inbox. It was brief and brutal. Effective immediately, we are terminating our contract. Our brand is built on empowerment, not elitism and public humiliation. We do not associate with bullies. Please cease all use of our products. The financial rug had been pulled from under her feet. She showed up at my door that night. The performance was different now. The confident queen was gone, replaced by a red-eyed, trembling mess. The tears were real this time. Great heaving sobs. "Alex, baby, I'm so sorry. It was just a joke. A stupid, tone-deaf joke. You know I don't think that. You misunderstood. Everyone misunderstood," she wailed, trying to reach for me. I took a step back, my expression unmoved. The time for her performances was over. I looked past her, into my hallway, and saw my toolbox. I walked over, picked up the heavy wrench I had been using under her sink, and walked back to the door. Her sobs hiccuped to a stop as she looked at it, confused. I held the cold, heavy metal out to her. "The pipe under your sink is still broken," I said, my voice utterly calm, devoid of any anger or malice. It was a simple statement of fact. "Since you're so invested in building character," I continued, watching the dawning horror in her eyes, "you can finish the job yourself." I placed the wrench in her limp, unwilling hand. Her fingers were cold against mine. She stared at it as if I'd handed her a live snake. What are you talking about? I don't know how," she stammered. I gave her a small, cold smile. "I'm sure you'll figure it out. It builds character." Then I gently closed the door in her stunned face. I heard the heavy, definitive click of the automatic lock engaging. Through the peephole, I watched her stand there for a full minute on my welcome mat, holding the wrench, staring at the unyielding wood of the door, finally understanding the true weight of the tool in her hand and the devastating cost of the character she had so flippantly tried to build.